You're listening to Underground USA News.
Monday, September 15, 2025, House Speaker Mike Johnson has blocked Representative Thomas Massie's effort to repeal the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, a law that loosened restrictions on the government's ability to disseminate state-produced media content to American citizens. Critics argue the act, embedded in the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act, enables legalized propaganda by allowing agencies like the State Department to shape domestic narratives under the guise of public information. Massie's push to restore the original 1948 Smith-Mundt Act, which barred such domestic dissemination, reflects growing conservative concerns over federal overreach and media manipulation. Johnson's decision to quash the repeal has sparked debate among liberty-minded lawmakers who see it as a missed opportunity to curb government influence in public discourse, while others contend the modernization supports transparency in global communications. President Trump has threatened to declare a national emergency and federalize Washington, D.C.'s police force if Mayor Muriel Bowser persists in her refusal to cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement. This follows the expiration of a 30-day federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department, which Trump claims significantly reduced crime in the capital. Bowser, despite previously acknowledging the crime reduction, has stated that local police will not engage in immigration enforcement, prompting Trump to warn that non-cooperation could lead to a resurgence of crime. Critics argue this move is an overreach, but supporters see it as a necessary step to maintain law and order in a city struggling with illegal immigration issues. Maureen Kamei, daughter of former FBI Director James Kamei and a nepotism hire, has filed a lawsuit against the Department of Justice, seeking reinstatement to her role as an assistant U.S. attorney in Manhattan's Southern District of New York after her abrupt firing in July 2025. The lawsuit claims her termination was politically motivated, tied to her father's contentious history with President Trump, who dismissed James Kamei in 2017. Kamei, a seasoned prosecutor known for her questionable handling high-profile cases like those of Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs, alleges her dismissal was unlawful and unconstitutional, lacking any stated reason. Critics argue this reflects a troubling pattern of targeting career officials with perceived ties to Trump's adversaries, raising questions about the independence of the Justice Department under current leadership. In a 226-197 vote, the House passed the Stop Illegal Entry Act, led by U.S. Representative Stephanie Bice, Republican from Oklahoma, which increases criminal penalties for illegal immigrants who commit felonies, raising sentences from 2 to 5 years for illegal entry and up to life for those convicted of felonies after illegal entry. Nearly 200 Democrats voted against the measure, drawing criticism from conservatives who argue it prioritizes public safety by targeting criminal illegal immigrants, while supporters like U.S. Representative Laura Gillen, Democrat from New York, called it common sense. Critics, including some Democrats, contend existing laws already address such crimes, and the bill could harm vulnerable immigrants. The vote highlights ongoing tensions over immigration enforcement, with conservatives emphasizing the need to deter illegal entry and crime, while opponents argue it risks overreach. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has endorsed Zoran Mamdani, a self-described democratic socialist, in the New York City mayoral race, raising concerns among conservatives about the Democrat Party's increasing embrace of radical far-left policies. Hochul's decision, announced in a surprise op-ed, comes after months of hesitation due to Mamdani's radical proposals, such as taxing the wealthy, which critics argue could drive businesses and residents out of the state. Despite her initial reservations and disagreements with Mamdani on issues like public safety and anti-Semitism, Hochul cited shared priorities on affordability and resistance to Trump-era policies as reasons for her support. This move puts pressure on other prominent Democrats, like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, to back Mamdani, who leads polls by double digits, while conservatives warn it signals a troubling shift toward policies that could undermine New York's economic stability and security, and put Marxism on the main stage in the Big Apple. In radically liberal San Francisco, the overdose reversal drug Narcan, intended to save lives, is being weaponized by some residents to target homeless drug users, forcing them into painful withdrawals to drive them out of public spaces. Reports indicate individuals are administering Narcan to non-overdosing homeless people, causing severe physical distress, with some victims describing the experience as worse than gunshot wounds. This misuse, condemned as inhumane by health officials, reflects frustration with the city's persistent homelessness and open-air drug markets, particularly in areas like the Tenderloin and UN Plaza. Critics argue that neo-Marxist progressive policies prioritizing harm reduction over addiction treatment and public safety have fostered an environment where even life-saving tools are twisted into instruments of cruelty, exacerbating the city's ongoing crisis. In Los Angeles, homeless encampments have transformed into sophisticated, semi-permanent cities, with makeshift infrastructure like tennis courts, gardens, and illegally tapped electricity, reflecting a growing crisis fueled by housing shortages and lax governance. Residents in areas like Koreatown express frustration over safety hazards, including fire risks from tampered streetlights and trip hazards from extension cords, while city officials struggle with ineffective responses, leaving vacant lots owned by unresponsive entities to fester. Despite outreach efforts by Mayor Karen Bass's office, critics argue that the lack of decisive action and accountability has allowed these encampments to flourish, straining public resources and exacerbating crime and sanitation issues. This situation highlights a broader failure to address root causes like affordability and mental health, leaving communities burdened by the consequences of unchecked homelessness. California's Proposition 50, set for a November 2025 special election, aims to redraw congressional maps to favor Democrats, potentially costing taxpayers over $280 million, a figure that dwarfs the $200 million spent on the 2021 gubernatorial recall election. Critics, including Republican leaders, argue this move undermines the state's independent redistricting commission, established in 2010 to curb gerrymandering, and represents a fiscally reckless power grab amid a $20 billion state budget crisis. Supporters, led by Governor Gavin Newsom, claim it's a necessary counter to Republican redistricting efforts in states like Texas, but opponents warn it erodes voter trust and burdens counties with costs, such as San Bernardino's estimated $24.9 million. The rushed process, with ballots due by October 6, has fueled accusations of political overreach, with significant funds, $10 million from Charles Munger Jr., alone pouring in to oppose the measure. In a disturbing incident in Salt Lake City, the FBI arrested Adib Nasir, 58, and Adil Justice Ahmed Nasir, 31, for allegedly placing a live incendiary device under a Fox 13 news vehicle on September 12, which failed to detonate, but posed a significant threat to public safety, particularly given its proximity to an occupied building. The suspects, apprehended after an FBI-led raid in Magna, Utah, face charges including terrorism, possession of weapons of mass destruction, and attempted aggravated arson, with additional explosives, firearms, and narcotics uncovered at their residence, raising concerns about their motives. The discovery of anti-Trump signs at the suspect's home suggests potential political motivations, though authorities have not yet clarified the full intent behind this alarming act, which underscores the need for vigilance in protecting free press and public safety. The FBI has confirmed that DNA evidence from a towel and screwdriver links 22-year-old Tyler Robinson to the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Authorities recovered a bolt-action rifle and disturbing messages, including a note indicating Robinson's intent to take out Kirk, though the suspect remains uncooperative, leaving investigators to probe his motives, which may be tied to his recent left-leaning political shift and obsession with Kirk, despite his conservative family background. Utah Governor Spencer Cox noted Robinson's transgender partner is cooperating, but no clear motive has emerged as the FBI examines leftist group connections and a group chat for clues. This targeted attack has sparked national outrage, with conservatives demanding justice and heightened scrutiny of rising political violence. In the wake of Turning Point, USA founder Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination, over 32,000 students have rallied to expand his conservative vision, submitting inquiries to establish new campus chapters within just 48 hours. This unprecedented response, reflects a groundswell of determination among young Americans to uphold Kirk's mission of promoting free speech and challenging leftist ideologies on campuses. Erica Kirk, his widow, has vowed to ensure the movement grows stronger, with plans to continue TPUSA's annual America Fest conference. The outpouring of support, coupled with increased job applications to the organization, signals a robust commitment to preserving Kirk's legacy against a backdrop of political violence and leftist hostility, including vandalism and inflammatory rhetoric from figures like Minnesota Democrat U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar. A historic breach of China's Great Firewall, exposing over 500 gigabytes of internal documents and source code, has raised alarms about potential dissent within the ranks of its censorship apparatus and the export of its surveillance technology to authoritarian regimes worldwide. The leak, originating from Gij Networks, a company tied to the firewall's founder Fang Binxing, details sophisticated censorship and monitoring systems sold to countries like Myanmar, Pakistan, Ethiopia, and Kazakhstan. Experts suggest this unprecedented exposure, which includes project logs and communications, may indicate internal frustrations or vulnerabilities within China's tightly controlled tech infrastructure, while also highlighting the global spread of digital authoritarianism. The documents reveal not only the firewall's technical workings, but also its bureaucratic nature, potentially empowering activists to develop circumvention tools, though security risks remain for those analyzing the data. China's rapid expansion of its submarine fleet, projected to outsize the U.S. Navy's by 2030, raises serious concerns about America's undersea dominance in the Indo-Pacific, where tensions over Taiwan and the South China Sea continue to escalate. While China's Navy already boasts over 370 platforms, including a growing number of quieter, faster submarines equipped with advanced weaponry, the U.S. maintains a technological edge with its 71 nuclear-powered submarines, supported by unmatched combat experience and regional alliances with nations like Japan and Australia. However, Beijing's shipbuilding capacity, reportedly 200 times that of the U.S., and its focus on conventional and nuclear-powered submarines, such as the Type 39C, signal a determined effort to close this gap, challenging America's ability to project power and protect its interests in a critical geopolitical theater. In a calculated move to cripple Mali's economy, Al-Qaeda-affiliated insurgents from Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin torched at least 40 fuel tankers in the Kayes region on September 14th, as part of a declared blockade on fuel imports, intensifying pressure on the nation's military junta and its Russian allies. The attack targeted a convoy of over 100 vehicles under military escort, with sources indicating the Malian army faced a fierce assault, though official casualty figures remain unconfirmed. This escalation follows JNIM's earlier strikes in Sikasso and recent deadly attacks in Bamako, signaling a strategic shift toward choking Mali's fuel supply, a critical vulnerability for the landlocked nation, reliant on imports from Senegal and Ivory Coast. Analysts warn this tactic could destabilize the region further, as Mali's government scrambles to respond amidst growing insurgent influence and a fractured regional security landscape. U.S. and Chinese officials convened in Madrid on September 14th for critical trade negotiations, focusing on escalating tensions over tariffs, the looming TikTok divestiture deadline, and U.S. demands for China to curb illegal technology shipments to Russia, led by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng. The discussions at the Palacio de Santa Cruz aim to stabilize the fragile U.S.-China trade relationship, which has been strained by retaliatory tariffs and national security concerns. The talks, part of a series following meetings in Geneva, London, and Stockholm, may pave the way for a potential Trump's-eye summit, though analysts suggest a TikTok deal is unlikely, with another deadline extension expected. China's recent probes into U.S. semiconductors signal ongoing friction, while the U.S. pushes for allied tariffs to counter China's purchases of Russian oil, reflecting a commitment to American economic and security interests. Australia's government has committed an initial $12 billion to upgrade the Henderson Defence Precinct in Perth, Western Australia, as part of a strategic push to build and maintain a fleet of nuclear-powered submarines under the 2021 AUKUS pact with the United States and Britain. This investment, set to span a decade, aims to transform the shipyard into a maintenance hub for U.S. Virginia-class submarines, which Australia plans to acquire within 15 years, and to eventually produce its own submarines and Japanese Megami-class frigates. The move, part of a broader $70 billion defense spending increase since May 2022, reflects Canberra's focus on countering China's growing military presence in the Indo-Pacific, despite concerns from some U.S. critics about the pact's alignment with American interests. The project is expected to create 10,000 local jobs, reinforcing Australia's commitment to regional security and self-reliance. The Alternative for Germany party has achieved unprecedented polling success in eastern Germany, with recent surveys showing 37% support in Thuringia and 39% in Saxony-Anhalt, reflecting growing public frustration with unchecked immigration and establishment policies. This surge, particularly among younger voters, signals a rejection of the progressive consensus on open borders, as the AfD capitalizes on concerns over cultural identity and security. Despite coalition efforts by the CDU, SPD, and BSW to marginalize the AfD, its rising popularity challenges the German political elite, who face increasing calls for a party ban amid accusations of extremism. This trend suggests a broader conservative shift, as voters demand stricter immigration controls and a return to national sovereignty.
You're listening to Underground USA News.